think we all knew it was only a matter of time before I made a video talking about the Sacramento Kings, because my God, man, I never had them winning the championship. I never had them even making the playoffs, but I at least thought they were going to be a play-in tournament level team. But with every single game that goes by, there are more and more reasons to look at this team and say it is over. It is cooked. They might just pull the turkey out the oven. This team is over and might as well relocate to Seattle. Okay, I'm not actually going to joke around about relocation because that could actually happen. It already almost did back in 2013. But like I said, there is a lot to talk about when it comes to this Sacramento Kings team, okay? There is the giant elephant in the room, which is Keon Ellis. And then there's other things like the owner, Vivek, the rest of the roster, Doug Christie, Scott Perry, the direction that this team is going in. There is a lot to uncover. Okay, and actually, the more I guess, talk about this team and the more I, think about what I'm going to say in this video, I don't think I should be wearing this jersey. All right, that's more like it. I feel like this video is going to be me talking a lot about Keon Ellis. It's probably the thumbnail and title of this video because this team has never pissed me off so badly. About a year ago when the Sacramento Kings fired Mike Brown, one of the reasons why I was excited and why I thought maybe this was going to be a good move was because for some reason, Mike Brown would never play Keon Ellis. Keon Ellis was always a guy who was going to get buried in the bench, even though statistics, numbers, gameplay, the eye test, literally everything will tell you that Keon Ellis is a positive when on the court. So as soon as I saw that Doug Christie was going to be the one taking over this Sacramento Kings team, I got excited. Doug Christie, when he was a player, was a feisty defensive guy. And knowing how much he loves the city of Sacramento and embraces the defensive end, one of my first thoughts was, oh my God, Keon Ellis is finally going to get the run, the respect, and the game time that he deserves. Fast forward to now, and there have been multiple games where he does not play until late in the fourth quarter when the team is already getting blown out, or he just simply won't get any run at all. Any quality run, he will not get any minutes, okay? And that's exactly what I mean when I say that this team has pissed me off to another level. There are a couple things that I want to clear up about Keon Ellis, okay? Because obviously, within Kings fandom, there are going to be people who don't agree with each other, right? Everyone has their own different opinions. And when talking about Keon Ellis, I noticed some of the other comments with some people saying, hey, Keon is good, but he's not the savior of this franchise. Playing Keon Ellis 30 minutes doesn't mean they're going to win every game. He's not going to be the key to the team. I think people need to understand that is by no means what people think when they think about Keon Ellis. When I say that Keon deserves more minutes or should be in the starting lineup instead of a guy like Dennis Schroeder who's playing like shit, I'm not saying that because I think Keon Ellis is going to go out and drop 40 points. I'm saying that because Keon Ellis isn't only a young guy who should actually develop and get some playing time, but like I mentioned before, he is a positive on both ends of the floor. He can knock down shots. He is the best defensive player on the Sacramento Kings above Keegan Murray. And there are times like in the Minnesota Timberwolves game where the Kings are getting smoked because Anthony Edwards is just bending us backwards and fucking us in the ass. And it's like, as a team, as a coaching staff, how do you not turn to your bench, look at Keon Ellis, your best defender, and say, okay, go out there and try to guard him? So once again, I want to make it clear, no, Keon Ellis isn't going to be the franchise player for this team, but my God, he needs to be on the floor. And one of the reasons why this makes me so upset is because it is clear, no matter how much screaming or complaining Kings fans do, no matter how many chants they do saying that they want Keon Ellis on the floor, the Kings don't respect him. And that is just what it is, right? They pick up his option, right? He is now going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. Chances are the Kings are not going to give him the money that he deserves or the money that another team is going to offer him. And then what? The team loses Keon Ellis for absolutely nothing, and another team can grab an amazing, elite, young defensive 3-and-D guard? It is one of the most stupid decisions that this team has done, and that is saying a lot. Okay, that is saying a lot. This team has made a lot of bad decisions, but the way that they have treated Keon Ellis, the kind of things that they do to him, burying him on the bench, not giving him the money he deserves, not giving him the contract, it is actually ridiculous. It is upsetting, and it makes me actually question the future of this team. If they do have more undrafted solid talent, will they actually respect them, or will they choose a seasoned veteran who is one leg out of the league to play over him instead? instead. Now, if you were to ask me what teams I would like to see Keon Ellis play for, the first team that comes to mind is the Houston Rockets. I don't know if it's because they lost Fred VanVleet and they're just missing a point guard, but my God, the defense that Keon Ellis adds to an already really good Houston Rockets defensive team, the three-point shot making that he adds, the overall hustle and effort, the things like I would do anything. If there was one team I'd want to see him play for, it's the Houston Rockets. And it's gone to the point, not saying I want Keon Ellis to leave my team, but if he does, I want him to go somewhere where he is valued, the fans love him as much as they do in Sacramento, and where he can win a championship. I think Houston would be that spot. I promise I'm going to move on from the Keon Ellis talk here in a minute and talk about the entire team as a whole, but I do just want to say, okay, just tonight, a couple of hours ago, Keon Ellis played the most minutes he has, I think all season probably, if I had to guess, against the Atlanta Hawks. Yes, I'm looking at the stats right now. It was 31 minutes in that game, mainly because they were getting blown out like crazy. But out of the entire Sacramento Kings roster, everyone that played in this game, of course, the guy who played the best was Keon Ellis. 7 for 14 from the field, 6 for 11 from 3, 2 steals, 1 assist. Yes, he had 3 fouls, but he scored 20 points in this game where everybody else on the team didn't seem to care. Nobody else played good. Nobody played with as much heart and hustle as Keon Ellis. It is sad to see that his days in Sacramento are numbered when he should really be a key piece moving forward in what is hopefully going to be a rebuild for this team. Yeah, that's going to be the next topic of conversation here. What is actually happening in Sacramento? What is going on, okay? Because at the start of the season, I think Vivek and Scott Perry and everybody in the front office was looking at this team saying, all right, hey, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis, oh, maybe a little bit of Russell Westbrook in there. This team is going to be a good one. This team is a playoff contender in the Western Conference. And now they're the 13th seed with a 3-9 record. Almost battling for a top pick in the NBA draft. Like, that is the situation that the Kings are in. And it seems like the front office and management recognizes that. They understand the situation they're in. They understand that the players just aren't what they thought they were going to be. Which, thank God, man. You could ask literally any NBA fan or Kings fan, and everybody knew this team was not going to be good. And I will say, I have seen reports on my timeline. I have seen reports from trusted Kings, clientele people, that the team is finally going to do a real rebuild, a 2-year minimum rebuild where they value young talent, they value draft picks, they try to get rid of all these veterans, they clear out their cap space. They do everything they can to do a clean NBA by the textbook rebuild. Does that sound absolutely beautiful on paper and something that would be, immediately bought into by all Kings fans? Of course it does. But the chances of that actually happening are really low, mainly because of Vivek and the overall ownership. There's a lot of scenarios that can happen, one of them being Vivek just meddling his way into the process of making basketball decisions. I have seen a lot of quotes saying that Vivek has given Scott Perry full control over the team and that he is not touching anything at all like he has in the past.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Nick
rocks! And if that is somehow the case, I think that's great. If that's what's going on, I fully trust Scott Perry to build a solid team. And if it's Scott Perry who makes the bad decisions and can't build the roster, fair. We tried, right? We just hired the wrong guy. Okay, I think that's fine. But if I hear one fucking whisper that Vivek was making decisions or saying things like, oh, you need to fire Doug Christie or else, it's over, bro. It would just be over. It would just be over. That is the only way that the Kings won't be successful. Some of the other reasons is, let's say the Kings do draft a really good player, right? Number 1 pick. They get Boozer, DeBonsa, whoever, and they actually somehow end up stumbling into a good roster and good players. Vivek cannot pay these guys. Vivek is a cheap owner, and there is a very common theme in the NBA that even though there's a salary cap, even though there's luxury taxes and hard caps, most of the time, if you're an NBA franchise and you aren't willing to pay extra for the top players, you're just not gonna be good. And believe it or not, even though the Sacramento Kings franchise, I believe, is worth like a couple $1 billion, Vivek is one of the most broke owners in the entire league. Out of all the owners, he is like one of the poorest out of all of them, which means even if they do build a good team, they do everything right, finances are always going to be a struggle. And so as much as I hate to think this way because it is, you know, such a doomer mindset, part of me does think the Kings will never be good as long as Vivek is running the organization. All it will take is him selling the team, and then the team will actually be able to go out and be good and competitive. But of course, you risk the chances of being relocated to fucking Anaheim if he does sell the team. So that whole side of things will always be interesting. I do want to talk a little bit here about, I guess, Doug Christie. I will say right now, okay, Doug Christie, I have obviously complained in this video saying that he doesn't give Keon Ellis respect. He doesn't play Keon Ellis. When it comes to that kind of stuff, I fucking despise his coaching. Some of the rotations that he has put out this season have been atrocious. There are some rotations that statistically look good and they, you know, look good with the eye test and everything lines up and it looks great. But for some reason, he cannot play those lineups because he cannot hurt feelings of veteran players like DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine. And as much as I hate that, some of it is, of course, you know, team politics and whatever it may be. I guess what I'm trying to say is, actual coaching aside, like besides having to deal with this horrible roster, because as much as I want to critique his actual lineups and, you know, way of being a coach, the roster is also really fucking dog shit. Everything else with Doug Christie, I love. I think it's because he actually loves the city of Sacramento. Like, he wants to do everything in his power to make the team good. He will always show energy. He will show heart. He will show passion. And, you know, we did see good moments last season with this team where it was like, whoa, Doug Christie is taking them up to the beam and talking about how much this team means to the city, because Doug Christie knows he was a player. He was in their shoes. It's moments like that that really make me believe Doug Christie. But of course, it's hard during a losing streak or a rough stretch of the season to really believe what he is putting out onto the floor. That being said, I don't think you fire him until, you know, maybe you actually get a good team and you see that he cannot do anything good with it. What I'm trying to say is you let Doug Christie control the rebuild, because besides Mike Brown, this team has had no culture in 20 years. And I think Doug Christie will be the only guy in the entire league or coaching realm that will truly care so much about this team even during a rebuilding phase. I mean, shit, we're like 12 games into the season and he's already going into this press conference like talking shit to the haters, saying we're going to be better than this. No one is going to care that much. You know what I mean? That being said, the highlights and things to look forward to with this team is what many people consider to be an actual rebuild that will take place very soon. That means a possible fire sale on a lot of the veterans that you see on this team currently, whether it's DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis, Zach LaVine. And if no team wants them, or if no one wants to trade for them, I don't think we will see the Kings attach any assets to get rid of them. They will just wait until their contract is up. They will lose, get picks, whatever it may be. That is the good news to look forward to. We are looking at a true rebuild. I guess we also kind of have to take that word with a grain of salt. So yeah, Kings fan, buckle up, get ready for another season full of hell and garbage. I'm sure we're going to see some team drama. We're going to see some crazy, shocking moves if I had to guess. But hey, it's nothing that Kings fans haven't experienced before. That being said, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy. Be sure to like and subscribe if you did. Comment down below all your opinions on the Sacramento Kings. What should they do? How do you feel about the team right now? I read and respond to everybody. Of course, I love talking about my favorite team as well, so I'm really going to be down there hearing what you guys have to say. And yeah, man, that being said, I will see you guys all in the next one. Later.